In the headlines, Kebbi State Deputy Governor escapes death as bandits kill his ADC and 18 military personnel. Senate throws out President Muhammadu Buhari's electoral bill. Police arrest suspected killer of Air Vice Marshal Umar Maisaka, recover 18 AK-47 rifles from bandits. And on the foreign scene, Russia-Ukraine war to dominate EU leaders summit as diplomats from the warring countries meet for talks in Turkey. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. We begin with security. Kebbi State Deputy Governor Samaila Dabai says he escaped bandits' attack in Kanya, Waje district of Donko Wasagu local government area. The Deputy Governor, a retired Army colonel, regularly visits the area to monitor military operations tackling banditry. A statement signed by Senior Special Assistant New Media to the Deputy Governor, Atom Turba, said the Deputy Governor in company of Commanding Officer 223 Light Tank Battalion Zuru were ambushed by bandits while returning from military formation visits to boost morale of soldiers. A security aide attached to the Deputy Governor, ASP Idris Umar Libata, and 18 military operatives were killed. Recounting his ordeal, the Deputy Governor laments the spate of informants disguising in public, revealing movement of troops as well as vigilante groups whose bravery mission is to tackle the menace. Dabai commends the bravery of the military men and vigilante groups for their rapid response, maintaining that his presence at the battlefield is born out of passion to see a safer environment where locals would go to farm and do their business activities without hitches. Dabai prayed for the repose of his deceased security aide, military personnel, and all those that gave their lives in defense of the territory, adding that they shall be remembered for their bravery forever. According to reports, the armed bandits also burned their vehicles during the fresh attack and also abducted scores of villagers in villages close to Kanya. House of Representatives want establishment of military bases in some parts of Kebbi State to curb incessant attacks by bandits, citing the latest security breach during which many local volunteers were killed. The issue raised by Representative Tanko Sununu as a matter of urgent public importance brought to the fore incidents in the last couple of months where bandits attack helpless communities to kill, kidnap, and rustle cattle. The report.
The attacks in some part of Kebbi State, according to the lawmaker, have led to humanitarian crisis and untold hardship in the southern senatorial district. The House is worried that the current attack has left many families in disarray and economic activities grounded. The House therefore urged for deployment of more troops and equipment to eliminate the criminals and also provide relief materials to those affected by the attacks.
Concerned that if no urgent remedial and deterrent action is taken to arrest the incessant attack in Kebbi South, it has the capacity to make the area ungovernable, worsen the level of poverty as many social services are already affected, increase the level of illiteracy of the areas due to poor school attendance and disorganized academic calendar.
Meanwhile, the minority leader Ndudi Elumelu raised a motion of a 22-year-old young girl, Oluwabamiche Ayomola, recently murdered in cold blood in Lagos State. The lawmaker is worried that many of the incessant attacks are underreported in view of the stigma attached to such incidents and molestation when such reports are made.
Further aware that Oluwabamiche was last seen on 26th of February 2022 after boarding a BRT bus number 240257 at about 7 p.m. around Chevron bus stop. The stop that there are allegations that the BRT driver earlier confessed of having carnal knowledge of late Miss Bamiche before killing her and harvesting some of her vital organs, only for the story to change after some influential Nigerians perceived to have intervened on his behalf.
The House therefore resolved to urge the federal government through the Nigerian Police and National Security and Intelligence to fast-track investigation and ensure the killers of Oluwabamiche Ayomola are brought to justice.
Still on security, police in Kaduna say operatives arrest over 200 armed bandits, including the principal suspect in the murder of Air Vice Marshal Umar Maisaka, who was assassinated in November last year. The police also said they recovered 18 AK-47 assault rifles, 11 pump-action guns, and 10 locally fabricated pistols from the bandits and armed robbers. The report.
According to police spokesman ASP Mohammed Jaligay, the principal suspected killer of the late AVM Musa Maisaka and other suspects paraded were arrested through intelligence sharing with police tactical and plain-clothed teams.
Let it be on record that the relentless effort of the command in investigating the culpable homicide case involving late Air Vice Marshal Mohammed Musa Umar Maisaka of number A27 Makarfi Road, Rigasa, Kaduna, who was assassinated on the 8th of November 2021 at the above address has yielded a positive result, with the arrest of the principal suspect, Mohammed Giwa. The said suspect confessed he and his cohorts had extorted at different times and running into millions of naira from the victim on several occasions by threatening to kill him if he fails to meet up to their demands. All these suspects being paraded here are currently in various stages of investigations and will be charged to court on completion.
Jaligay also said 200 bandits were also arrested with 18 AK-47, 11 pump-action gun recovered.
The sum of these approaches resulted in the successes we are showcasing today, with the arrest of over 200 armed bandits, 20 armed robbery suspects, and the recovery of 18 AK-47 rifles, 2,000 live ammunition of different caliber, 11 pump-action rifles, 10 locally fabricated pistols, 140 shotguns, 12-gauge cartridges, 7 motor vehicles of different brands, and 9 motorcycles.
The prime suspect in the assassination of AVM Maisaka and one suspected ally of the notorious bandit, Kachala, speak.
It is true I'm being accused, but I'm praying that the real culprit will be exposed. I did not kill him. I did not go to his house. I may have sent the message from my phone. But I didn't know things will turn out this way. I am only praying to God to vindicate me. I didn't kill him. I did not send anyone to kill him, and I don't know who killed him.
The late retired AVM Maisaka was murdered on the 8th November last year.
Senate on Wednesday rejected President Muhammadu Buhari's request to amend Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022 as senators voted overwhelmingly to stop further amendments. A federal high court had restrained the National Assembly from further amendment to the act after it was signed to law. Section 84 forbids political appointees from voting as delegates or aspirants during political party convention or congresses. The report.
The restriction by the court to allow for further amendments of the Electoral Act is seen by analysts as true demonstration of the principle of separation of powers. The judiciary, they say, works independent of the executive and the legislature. A cross-section of senators emphasized the need to respect the court order, while the Senate President Ahmed Lawa told the lawmakers that they are not committing any wrongdoing if they go ahead with the amendment.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, there are certain things that we see which we think we don't even have to come here to debate. One of those things is the fact that in every democracy all over the world, there are certain rules which we don't need to be told about. Yes. And one of those rules is the fact that you cannot be a referee and a player in the same field. It's either you're a referee, yes, or you're a player.
Yesterday, this point of order was raised, and you ruled that we should go ahead and treat this amendment. Mr. President, already the parties involved have decided to go for appeal. I'm of the opinion, Mr. President, the right thing to do is to allow the appeal to go so that the court order can be set aside. Then we can come in and treat this bill. Doing so, obviously, will mean that we are...
And this very historic debate. Mr. President, one of the hallmark of democracy is justice, fairness, and equity. And indeed, Mr. President, it's a settled matter in law that you cannot be a judge over your own case. In any election, Mr. President, where people have the added advantage of holding executive power, either by proxy or directly, either by appointment, and for such people to have access to compete with others who came from the streets, I think it's an unjust society. Yeah. Therefore, Mr. President, I disagree with all the arguments emanating from your table on the need to reconsider a decision that already been settled.
After deliberations on the bill presented on the floor by the Senate leader Yahya Abdullahi, the Senate President put the amendment to voice vote, during which the News had it.
The fact that the court said the National Assembly should not tamper with law, the Electoral Act 2022, as amended, except through due process, does not mean that the National Assembly cannot consider the bill. So I think we are not breaching any law. In fact, we are trying to promote democracy by doing this. Because to do otherwise, one day someone will go to court and say that the Senate or the National Assembly should not sit. So I want to please appeal to all of us that we are on the right course, and my ruling remains that we are going ahead to consider the proposal, the request, which the leader of the Senate is leading the debate.
President Muhammadu Buhari had, in a letter sent to the National Assembly on the 1st of March 2022, requested for a re-amendment of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act to permit political appointees contest for elective positions without resigning their appointments. The clause under contention also states that no political appointee shall be a voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any political party.
Similarly, stakeholders in Nigeria's democratic process say for the newly signed electoral law to make meaningful impact, efforts must be made to strengthen institutions, devise punitive measures, and ensure attitudinal change among Nigerians. The respondents, while speaking to Trust TV's Shafi'u Suleiman, say though reforming electoral law is a step further in sanitizing the nation's electoral and democratic process, there is need to consolidate on the feet. The report.
President Muhammadu Buhari has recently appended his signature on the much-debated Electoral Act Amendment Bill as reworked by the National Assembly. Part of the objectives of the amended law is to engender transparency and accountability in the nation's electoral process, discourage human interference through electronic transmission, as well as open the electoral space for more participation amongst others.
It's a plus. Kudos to the Mr. President. Kudos to the National Assembly, kudos to Nigeria, that we have a reformed electoral law in place. But the big question is that, would the electoral law change our attitude? It's still a big question. Unless our attitude is changed, I'm not sure electoral law alone can work miracles.
Because a law is as good as its enforcement. If it's not enforced, it's not even worth the paper that it's written on. So this bill is not an exception. Mr. President must go a step further by ensuring that the security agencies do their work, before the elections, during the elections, and after the elections.
Then once you have somebody that seemingly meets some expectation, develop some social contract, because that is what the constitution even says. That political office and citizens have what they call the social charter, and that social charter must actually include and indicate some expectations, which the political office must sign off. Then you use that as an instrument for engagement. Then once the person gets to the office, then you can use that to begin to demand some level of accountability, demand some kind of infrastructure.
The respondents say, though reforming the electoral law to address existential and contemporary loopholes is imperative, realizing the objective of free, fair and credible election requires much more than sound legal framework.
One will be the political parties, two will be the electorate, and three will be INEC. And security institutions also have a very big role to play. In previous elections, they have been used very massively for rigging, for distortion, for manipulation. We need to get security agencies also to understand that yes, they are neutral in the entire processes, but they also have a role to ensure that credibilities are also recorded at every stance in the entire value chain.
We should not exonerate ourselves that politicians are the ones that are bad. Some of us are their advisors as professors. What are we advising them? Everybody just advising for his pocket. The businessmen, those who are in the economy, even the religious leader, what are we preaching in the churches and mosques? Is it not, whom are we praying for? We've monetized prayers. You pray for those who have money.
The person giving and the person receiving, all of them are guilty, of the same offense. So if in any situation people are brought, before the court that you receive this amount of money, it's a criminal offense. You gave this amount of money, it's a criminal offense, and they are dealt with in accordance with the law. I'm sure people will be discouraged.
Attitudinal change amongst Nigerians, the political actors, the electoral umpire and security agencies towards achieving credible electoral process, they say, is critical to meeting the desired objective. Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Still talking politics, as the National Convention of the All Progressives Congress draws closer, the Senate caucus of the party has expressed concern over the lingering crisis within the party. The party is worried that if something is not done urgently to address the issues, such crisis may affect the party's chances in the 2023 general elections. The report.
It is no longer news that all is not well with the ruling All Progressives Congress, the APC. As part of measures, therefore, to address the crisis rocking the party, APC senators met behind closed doors this Wednesday. Senate Majority Leader Senator Abdullah Yahya, who spoke with newsmen after the 2-hour closed-door meeting, said they are very worried about the state of affairs within the party. More worrisome to them is the fact that the National Convention of the party is around the corner, just as the clock is ticking towards the 2023 general elections.
We express our concern over the challenges that face the party very, very close to its national convention. And we thought, as very, very important stakeholder in the party, we want to draw attention to everyone involved to come together, to unite, so that we can have successful convention in the party. This is not the time for assigning blames or extending regrets about what we could do. What is happening is about the future of our party and government, and also the capacity of the party to win the elections in 2023.
The Senate Majority Leader debunked media reports in some quarters which alleged that there was leadership change in the party. Recall that the interim chairman of the Caretaker Committee, Mai Mala Bunu, who doubles as a Yobe State governor, was replaced by Governor Sani Bello of Niger State few days ago. a development which is not going down well with some party members.
Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the All Progressives Congress has Wednesday approved the recommendations of its Committee on Zoning. A statement signed by the party's Director of Publicity, Salisuna Inna Dambata, said the north-central part of the country is to produce National Chairman, National Vice Chairman, North Central, Deputy National Secretary, among others. The report.
The statement added that the South-South states are to provide the National Vice Chairman South-South, National Publicity Secretary, National Women Leader, Deputy National Treasurer, amongst others. However, positions of the National Secretary, National Vice Chairman, National Youth Leader, amongst other party leaders are zoned to the Southwest. The CECPC also approved the zoning of Deputy National Chairman South, National Vice Chairman Southeast, National Treasurer, National Welfare Secretary, amongst other party leaders to the southeastern part of the country. For the northeastern states, they are to produce the Deputy National Chairman North, National Auditor, National Vice Chairman Northeast, Deputy National Financial Secretary, amongst others. The Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee also agreed that the Northwest should be given the positions of National Vice Chairman Northwest, National Legal Advisor, National Organizing Secretary, National Financial Secretary, Deputy National Youth Leader, amongst other party leadership positions. The statement also says zonal representatives on the CECPC will now coordinate the process in 8 zones of the Federation.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Water scarcity for irrigation farming. Do stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trust News Update. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. You heard that 15 soldiers killed in fresh attacks on Kebbi State, Kebbi community, barely 24 hours after armed bandits killed at least 65 local vigilantes and abducted an undisclosed number of civilians. You also heard that Senate on Wednesday rejected President Muhammadu Buhari's request to amend Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022 as senators voted overwhelmingly to stop further amendments. On health, Nigeria Center for Disease Control says it has recorded 84 new COVID-19 infections in 5 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The agency's data shows that 98 people were discharged after they recovered. Meanwhile, no death was reported on Wednesday, making it the 19th day with no fatalities. With the new figure, Nigeria has now recorded 254,861 cases, 249,307 recoveries, and 3,142 fatalities across the country. Similarly, the United Nations Children Fund and the World Bank says about 2/3 of households with children lost income since the inception of the COVID-19 pandemic. The report noted that reduced earnings have put parents in a position where their children are going without food for a day or more. Irrigation farmers in Kano warn of possible shortage of tomatoes, onions, rice, and other food crops owing to the shortage of water. In this special feature, Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that many irrigation farmers who depend on water from various dams in Kano could not cultivate this year. The report.
Tomato season is here again. Hamza Al-Hassan and several other farmers have been looking forward to this moment. But this year the result is mixed, and more bad news may await, because for nearly 6 months, the water channel for irrigation is blocked, and many of these farmers were left stranded.
Well, actually, we had a serious problem this year due to the water blockade, which affected the farming process. But for those who have tube well, they may have a cause to smile because the tomato is fine, but generally there was a problem with the water supply. Honestly, the problem of water for irrigation has been a major issue, and there is the problem of insects that have been disturbing us, and there is no.
And finally, away from Nigeria, European Union leaders will meet Thursday to find ways to urgently address the fallout of Russia's invasion of Ukraine that has imperiled the bloc's economy and exposed a dire need for a stronger defense. The meeting of the Versailles Palace was set to be the high point of France's 6-month EU presidency, but President Emmanuel Macron will instead spearhead a crisis summit to answer Russian leader Vladimir Putin's brutal disruption to decades of stability in Europe. With that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.